All right, guys, we're taking a look at Yoshi and Bowser in here, my Green Basilisks, and I've gotten a lot of messages on people asking about them, or even an update on Mongo the Bearded Dragon, even though I did the brumation video, and some of my other reptiles that they've either heard me mention or I featured briefly in a video, and they want to know, where's more content on them. So that content's coming. Just so everyone remembers, though, right? So Mr. Bernard, my skink, and Mongo and Archimedes, the bearded dragons, they're in brumation, although they're going to be getting ready to probably start coming out of it pretty soon. And then you'll see some more videos on them, which is why I made that brumation video, and there'll be a good update, especially with Mongo and femoral pores and what to look for after brumation. And same thing with the skink. And then you'll see them featured a lot more. A lot of cool stuff planned. But today, based off a question, was how are the green basilisks that I rescued, how are they doing? Well, one, they're doing great, as you can see them there. They're in a next step up enclosure for them that's 3 feet by 3 feet by 2 feet to give them more space. And then how are they eating? So I've been working a lot with tong feeding and trying to socialize them more. So remember, briefly, if this is your first video watching on them, when I rescued these guys, they came out of a heavy smoker filled house. They were in an enclosure that was super small for both of them, and they were being fed super worms, but the super worms were just being put in the enclosure. They would roam around, they would crawl inside places, they would turn into beetles. It's a disaster. So I've taken them out. We've got them on a dubia roach diet, dusted dubia roaches, which is really cool. That's what's in here. And I've been working really good with tong feeding them. So Yoshi is the larger one with the bigger crest on his head currently. Bowser is the other one with the smaller crest. Yoshi takes really well off the tongs. Bowser, sometimes good, sometimes not. I still have to assist feed him. And sometimes people want to know what's assisted feeding. So force feeding is I'd be opening his mouth or his or her mouth, putting the roach into it, and then, making him swallow it. Assisted feeding, I more just have to hold them, and I'll show you. But hopefully I'll be able to show you guys both ways of feeding. Now, Bowser can be a little bit timid, and of course they're on the same little hammock right there underneath their ceramic heat emitter. So we'll see what occurs when I go to try to feed Yoshi. I want to try to get a good view here for you guys underneath everything, because sometimes they spook each other, unfortunately. So we have a dubia roach. Oh, perfect, he moved. Great. So normally he does this when needing to eat. And I'm just going to, from below, slowly approach with the roach and put it in front of him so he notices it, and then he should go for it. Okay. There he goes. Great. So, let's try this again. Oh yeah. So you can see if you look at the fins coming up on his back, it's getting really defined. He is growing really well. And he's tamed down quite a bit. So because I'm getting him on the dubia roach diet, I do feed these guys twice a day, like you would do more for a baby reptile. Not really a juvenile most of the time, but I want to get them on the dubias, and because I am working with getting them more tame, it's really important to stay in it. So that's how I feed him. Now, in contrast, I'm going to get ready to film, and I'm going to show you how I have to still work on Bowser a little bit. Alright, so to assist feed him, I capture him, which isn't too hard. He's pretty well. If you approach these guys slowly, you can kind of pet him a little bit and then grab them. And naturally, he gets kind of defensive, so he opens his mouth, which is perfect. That's what we want, because then we bring in the roach. And we just kind of place the roach in, and that's it. Let's see if we can get him in focus. Now, when he's learned that he's eating and he's not fighting, he'll close his mouth because he's not defensive again. And we just kind of tap him with the food, and then he opens it back up. Come here, try to stay in frame. Let's see if I go underneath. I want to try to get a close-up of this. There we go. And turn this way. And make sure we stay in frame. There we go. So it's important that when you do this, if you notice, it would be a lot easier if I use my hand. I could drop the roach, I could manipulate it easier, but I want him to recognize the tongs as a food delivery device, and you don't want them to recognize your fingers as a food delivery device. So sometimes if he just holds on to it, you just kind of get in there with the tongs and you make it seem alive. Well, I guess it is alive, but it's just kind of getting its head crushed. That's it, guys. See how simple that was? So that's an update on these guys. They're doing great. They're eating. Their progress is just fine, because you can tell Yoshi was a little bit larger, a little bit more mature, so he's picked it up. Bowser's a little bit younger, and he's getting it. He's just a little bit behind. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.